Chris Martinson's with us now. He's the co-founder of Peak Prosperidade, and his mission is to educate millions of people on the risks currently taking place in our economy. He joins us now at Freedom Fest. Chris, good to have you first time on the show.
Thank you. Good to be here.
So one thing that struck me about your book, your foreword is from best-selling author Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He's been on our show multiple times. He's a believer in your message here.
Absolutely. First time I met him, he'd read my prior book to this, which is called The Crash Course, and he made it a field of study for all of his advisors, and then he brought me out to Phoenix with my co-author Adam Taggart, and we spent 3 days with him just going through that book chapter by chapter, because it really caught him. He said, wow, this person is thinking about the world the same way I am, but he's brought all this data to it, and I'm a past scientist, so I love the data.
So if you could break it down into 3 points, what's your main mission statement, I guess?
The next 20 years are going to be completely unlike the last 20 years. So we think that history is a really poor guide at this moment in time. And the reason is that the world is running into resource limits right now in a way it's never done before. So when I look out over the next 20 years, I see $200 trillion or more of debt outstanding, liabilities in excess of 5 times that, in a world that's going to struggle to grow because of resource constraints. So those are the pieces that come together. So ultimately, one tagline, the economy is unsustainable.
So what's the ultimate commodity for you? Water?
Soil, water, oil, a lot of key commodities out there. In particular, if you look at some of the rare metals that are out there, not the rare earths per se, those are not less rare than the name sounds, but we use things like indium, gallium, tantalum, things like that in exceedingly minute quantities, but they're essential for any high-tech future we want to have, including anything in the alternative energy space.
Okay. What do you think of the precious metals?
Love the precious metals. I've been a big believer in them. So my larger view is that we're going to see a great wealth transfer. It's going to happen. It happened in Weimar, Germany at one point in time. It happened in Argentina more recently. And what happens is we have too many claims built up. It's money and credit, and there's not enough stuff.
Okay.
So this has to be devalued,
and
people call it great wealth destruction. But it's not. It's a transfer. And it's transferred from the people who have too much paper wealth to people who own the real things. So gold and silver is the best way for the average person to own real wealth, but there are other ways too.
What's the sentiment you're feeling here at the conference? Are people bullish, bearish on the market? How do you see it?
Confused. There's a lot of confusion here, and I share that confusion. So we're seeing right now, as we're speaking, stocks hitting an all-time high and bonds hitting all-time highs. This is a crazy situation that can only really be made sense of when you look at what the central banks have done to liquefy and print and do things like that. Again, another reason why people should be looking to real, tangible wealth.
So how does Chris protect himself?
Well, my portfolio consists of no debt. I'm not carrying any outstanding debt, no unproductive debt for sure. I own all my real estate outright. I have a lot of gold and a lot of silver. And I'm building cash right now because I think there's better times coming.
Well, that's the biggest hurdle, is coming to no debt, right? Which is people's biggest challenge. So what are some, I guess, ways that you can focus on bringing that debt down?
Now, in the book you're holding, we have a whole chapter on the financial component, which talks about getting that part under control. Because a lot of people say it's out of control, I can't really, but you can. I've never met a person who said, oh, I have no extra money.
So is it cutting up the credit cards?
It is.
Okay.
And it's spending money on things that are truly, absolutely necessary if that's the stage of life you're at.
Fantastic. Chris, thanks so much for stopping by. We're going to get you to sign a copy of your book, Prosper. Go out and get it. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. And thanks for watching. We'll have much more coverage for you, so be sure to stay tuned to kitco.com.